Hello everyone and welcome to Skish, and today we are reviewing episode 2 of Makeine, Too Many Losing Heroines. So there's a lot to unpack in this episode, so we're just gonna get right into it, starting with the opening scene, which I think was an interesting choice. So right off rip, we have the classic getting locked in the sports shed scenario. I've never really seen this done so early in any animes before. They went pretty ballsy with doing this right in the beginning, which I respect a lot. Now, of course, they probably had to turn it up a notch, so of course it's midsummer, it's hot as balls inside this thing, and of course it just leads us into an ecchi scene, which I really didn't expect for this type of show. Now, it's in most of these rom-com animes anyway, but this one, they took it pretty far. They took it pretty far, and smack right in the beginning of the episode. Let's not forget that. Right in the beginning of the episode, they went right for it, right for the punch. Now, of course, they get out of the sports shed, but this leads us into a new character that we're introduced to, and I think is going to play a crucial role in this anime. So we're greeted with the nurse, and she's a little crazy. She's a little out there. And I love this teacher. She's like one of my favorite teachers in animes. I don't know why, but I love like her dry demeanor and just kind of nonchalantness. I really like that type of character archetype. I feel like the nurse is actually going to play a pretty big role in this show, playing as almost like a Cupid. She's going to try and play matchmaker. We see more of that later in the episode, which we'll get to. But she's trying to, you can tell there's some intentions there, and she's trying very hard to get things going, get that ball rolling a bit. Now, we don't really see much of Best Girl in this episode. I mean, we see a decent amount, but this one revolves around our sporty girl and her arc of what's going on and how she falls into the losing heroines scenario. So they made it pretty obvious she had a crush on Homeboy over here in episode 1, so we can already tell what's going to happen. It's pretty obvious. It's written on the walls all over. But how it happens, I think, is a good way of portraying it a little differently than normal. I just want to point out that she's really epic. I'm really excited to learn more about her character. I'm assuming we'll get a next episode, but I like her character type. It's funny, and she's super socially awkward, which I like in a character. And of course, we get more based little sister. This time, she kind of insults him about not having friends in school. He has to count on his fingers in 5, and of course, she doesn't believe him. But I really hope we get more of her character too. We got a little bit of foreshadowing here. We can pretty much already tell what's going to happen with those two. So I'm assuming episode 3 or 4, something's going to kick off in that direction. I'm just assuming. I had to throw that in. I love that. I love how there's only 2 types of girls: childhood friend and the homewrecker. All right, so here's where the big plot comes in for the episode. We can pretty much already tell what's going to happen here, or at least have an idea of what's going to happen. There it is. There it is. There it is. And now she's a member of the Too Many Losing Heroines Club, just like that. Just like that. And I thought that was, I like the way they did that with him being like dense as a rock, and you had kind of the third party intervene to kind of speed up the process a bit. Get hammered down the plot. Just get there. Don't beat around the bush. Just bam, bam. It's just right there. It's getting the ball rolling, like I mentioned earlier. Lemon did take it a little better than I expected, way more than the first girl. I always forget names, so I apologize if I'm getting the names wrong. But Lemon took it way better than I thought she would at first, which is very surprising. I didn't think so. It seemed like she liked that guy way more than, I think her name is Yanami, liked the first one. So right before we get towards the end of the episode, we have the subplot come into play, where she ends up having this bill to pay him. And not only is it her meal, but it's Lemon's now, and our homeboy has to front the bill yet again, making her grand total rise even more, which I think is a cool little thingy they threw in there. It's a cool little subplot to kind of show that they have to stick together until the bill's paid. So it's kind of a way to like portray that even though they're not friends yet, there's a reason that they're together. Towards the end of the episode, we get the nurse, and she's Pogger. She's great. She's also wiretapping the club rooms to try and help her motives. So it's a little bit illegal. I think that's a little bit illegal. So little based, I'd say. And here we go, the scene that really portrays her, that she's going to start playing Cupid with one of her last lines in the episode. And there we go. We can already tell that she's rooting for the characters, specifically Lemon right now, that she's going to try and make shit happen. and we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens. So I really enjoyed episode 2. This show is beating my expectations, even though I was extremely excited for it. I'm really excited to see where the whole thing goes. I love the little subplots they're throwing in, and the character development and the pacing is good. It's quick, but it's good. It's not too fast. We're getting to the point, and we're getting to the main plot of the show, and we're not beating around the bush like I mentioned earlier either. I like how we're just getting right into the beans of it. So I'm really excited for episode 3 and to see where this whole thing goes. That is the end of today's video. So if you guys liked the review, like that video, leave a comment of what you think of Makeine so far and who your favorite character is. Did you like episode 2 more than episode 1? And make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button for weekly uploads about this show and a whole bunch of videos that we're going to put out. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.